Good evening, Australia. You're listening to Channel 16 News, the home of lame puns and distasteful jokes. I'm Dodge. Dodge that kangaroo if you're in your car, 'cause it's sure to do some fucking serious damage. And we're number one for all the latest in current affairs, sport and weather. Tonight on our show, we'll be keeping you up to date with breaking news on the recent death from planking, the devastation in Christchurch, a live update on tonight's state of origin, and the latest in national weather. Covering our stories tonight will be Brock the Nose from the BBC, Joe Kamaker, and Gust of Wind. Moving on, we got Brock live at the Gold Coast with the latest info on the planking death.
Thanks, Dodge. I'm live on the Gold Coast, where a planker has recently plunged off a high-rise building, splattered on the ground, and endured a horribly graphic and painful death. There was some confusion at first. After he had in fact walked the plank, some were certain that he was just playing a planktical joke. When his mother received the bad news via telephone, she merely treated it as a plank call. However, she found out some minutes after, contrary to her beliefs, they were not lying. Some would consider this to be natural selection due to the planker lacking in signs of a promising career to start with. Insiders tell me that he attended boarding school, but in fact dropped out of that too. However, he certainly showed promising signs as a competent journalist. He certainly displayed his skill here tonight, Dodge, when he managed to cover 7 stories in the short space of about 5 fucking seconds. I have with me on the line the victim's mother, who would like to say a few kind words about her son. As you can see, Dodge, she is clearly shattered. However, if you think she's shattered, you should see her son. That motherfucker shattered into 1,000 pieces, and now what's left resembles that of some tomato-based porridge. It's certainly a sad scene here on the Gold Coast, Dodge, and I think after this incident, the law isn't going to take planking lying down. And if you're a planker, you can expect to be a target, mainly now because plankers are being known for not standing up for themselves. Back to you in the studio, Dodge.
Thanks for that, Brock. Truly devastating news about that poor fellow. My thoughts go out to his friends and his family. Apart from drugs and alcohol, I just don't know what gets into young people these days. They must be getting bored stiff to be thinking of an activity like planking. Anyway, moving on, there's been a shocking earthquake in the city of Christchurch. Live on the scene is Brock the Nose.
Thanks, Dodge. I'm over in New Zealand, where death, chaos, disease, poverty, Sarah Jessica Parker, disorder, anarchy, rape, pandemonium, turmoil, commotion, disarray, and watermelon salesmen, people named Gertrude, are running rampant. It would seem that Mother Nature has a vendetta against Christianity, and she displays her deadly force, ripping the city of Christchurch in half. So far, the death toll stands at 162 lambs, 47 ewes, and 63 rams. Also, a few mutton kicked the bucket, but hence their name, they were on their way out anyway. I have on the line one of the locals who claims his name is Sheep. Sheep fucker. Sheep was the owner of a home and a beautiful family when it was destroyed by the quake, and he had his family inside. Now his dreams of being a proud homeowner have been tragically and violently crushed. Like his family. I think he has a few words to say, Dodge.
You got any fish? You got any chips? You got any fish and chips?
Unfortunately for Sheep, not only did his house fall victim to the quake and his family endured a painfully terrible and inhumane death, but it appears due to his lack of ability to string a normal sentence together indicates that he likes to play rugby league. For people such as this, conversing is not one of their attributes. They are often more suited to activities such as being drunk and disorderly, violently bashing their partners, lifting heavy things, getting caught up in sex scandals, and defecating in motel hallways. Now, unfortunately for Christchurch, tourism will cop a heavy blow as a number of travellers have already cancelled their trip, claiming their accommodation has fallen through, though one would assume that there is always the option of staying with some flatmates. Back to you in the studio, Dodge.
Thanks for that, Brock. Truly shocking news, or should I say, after shocking news. I would say some kind words about deep sadness and sorrow, but quakes have been happening there for years, so what the fuck do they expect? Moving on now, it's time for our segment, 5 Seconds with Someone Famous, and tonight our guest is the complete opposite of Christopher Reeves. It's Christopher Walken. We've got Chris on the line now. Chris, you got 5 seconds. What do you got to say for yourself?
Well, no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, thanks for that, Christopher. You can fuck off now. Moving on, we've got our sport reporter, Joe Kamaker, live at Suncorp, giving us the update on number 3 of the State of Origin game. Over to you, Joe.
Thanks, Dodge. Joe Kamaka here. It's half-time at Suncorp Stadium, and the score is New South Wales 127 to Queensland 0. One key player for New South Wales has been Greg Bird. They've decided to play Bird up on the wing there, Dodge, and he's just been flying up and down the ground, smashing the opposition as if it were a schooner glass against his girlfriend's face. Unfortunately, though, Greg has been cited for striking an opponent just before half-time, and he received a yellow card.
I guess you could say he just wasn't playing his cards right, eh?
Good one, Dodge. I've seen Greg's Asian mail-order girlfriend here tonight, the lovely Pun Ching Bag. You can tell where Greg's been sharpening his boxing skills. Judging by her two black eyes and her fractured cheekbone, it's quite obvious that Greg Bird is at the top of the pecking order when they're at home. Jonathan Thurston has played a great half as hooker also, and he's shown some good ball skills. Where his opponents have slipped up, he was sure to make them pay. He's allowed some holes to be opened up during the game, but so far he's been doing a handy job. A couple of mentions for Queensland would have to be Sam Thaiday, who's played a good first half, along with Saturday, who is consistently magnificent, and it's no surprises that Monday has been fucking shithouse. I'm afraid if it wasn't for the front rowers, the Queensland boat would be well and truly sunk by now. Also, here John Hopewadi is pushing for Origin selection, Dodge, provided he can pull his finger out. Back to you in the studio, Dodge.
Yeah, thanks for that, Joe. Sounds like someone's managed to ruffle up Greg Bird's feathers. He certainly doesn't sound like a happy chap. You listeners can probably cheer him up by joining his campaign. Violence against women. Australia says no. Greg Bird says to give him another one. Now moving on to the weather, we got Gas Wind with the latest. Over to you, Gas.
Yeah, thanks, Dodge. Gust of wind here. As per usual, nothing's out of the ordinary for Australia. It's fucking hot in Darwin. It's cold and windy in Melbourne. And it's no surprises again that Queensland's flooded like a motherfucker. I think Queensland definitely owe a big thank you to the Defence Force for providing aid, and they also owe a big fuck you to the Navy who can keep their aids to themselves. Perth, 25, mostly fine and sunny, with isolated showers to go with its fucking isolated location. Canberra, it's supposed to be fine and sunny, but in terms of judgment when it comes to the recent decisions of the Australian government, I'd say it's going to be very fucking cloudy. And unfortunately, there is a serious storm heading for Broome. I imagine there'll be a huge mess to sweep up, Dodge. I really hope they can get a handle on it. For some of the residents of Broome, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the last straw. I'm Gust Wind, and that's the latest in the national weather. Back to you in the studio, Dodge.
Thanks, Gus, for another great weather report, and also for your crude and blunt insight to your views on the fucking clowns that run this country. Unfortunately, that's it for us tonight. Thanks for listening in. I'm Dodge.
I'm Brock.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Gus.
And we're the Channel 16 News team. Good night, Australia.